Oh, here goes. And welcome to the 83rd episode of Throwback Hoops. Woody V in the house. As always, please follow the show on YouTube and wherever you listen to your podcast. We appreciate everyone's ongoing support. And as always, after a few, I'm joined by my main man, Robbie Clayton. What's up, man?
What's up, Woods? Yeah, it's nice to be back, isn't it? It's 3 weeks, I think, since we did our last one. Sort of getting back to doing that weekly. I think that'll be starting again soon. But no, I've been looking forward to kick it with you again, man.
Yeah, for sure. So now, you did speak to me a few weeks and you said, look, man, we haven't worn a Sonics jerseys. Let's make it a Sonics theme episode, right? We dropped in on one of our previous episodes. We were going to do that. Here we are, man, with some 3 beautiful jerseys and Sonics hat on myself. So why don't you take us away?
It's a big Sonics day. Yeah, no, it's good, actually. I kept that sort of spreadsheet. I told you last time, we didn't have many Memphis ones, so I rocked a couple of Memphis ones. And I think we'd only had the one Sonics one, I think, going far. That was me with showing a Gary Payton jersey ages ago. So, yeah, like you said, three that we're rocking today. So I'll just talk a little bit about the one that's hanging up there. A little bit crumpled up. I do apologise. It's been stuck in the champion jersey cupboard. But a Sam Perkins green champion Sonics jersey. So a little bit on the man known as Big Smooth. He played 16 seasons in the NBA after being drafted out of North Carolina by the Mavs at pick 4 in the 84 draft. So he was 1 pick after college teammate Michael Jordan and 1 pick before Charles Barkley. So we know all about that draft, of course, Woods. Perkins played with the Mavs, Lakers, Sonics, and Pacers. So he managed to, pretty long career playing with only a few teams. Similar to the player you're going to tell us about later, I think he was a bit of a player that was ahead of his time. The big man was a very handy three-point shooter. We won't call it a three-point jump shot, though, given that he didn't even leave the floor when he shot. His left hand sort of sling there. But he had some really good games. I think he might have had the first ever 8 out of 8 three-point shooting game as well, which is amazing back then. So his accolades were NBA All-Rookie Team in 85. He won an Olympic gold medal in 84 and also an NCAA championship in 82. On, of course, that North Carolina team that featured Michael Jordan, James Worthy, and, of course, the late Cecil Lexon. Rest in peace to Cecil there. So Perkins is currently 62, continues to help and work with youth as part of the NBA Cares initiative. So I thought that was a pretty cool one. What's Sam Perkins? I know either of us thought of that name for a while.
Love it.
Yeah.
Love it.
Look, I'll just stand up. It's exactly the same era of jersey, but it's a different player. But I'll stand up and show you who I'm rocking today.
And Robbie's wearing the champion Sonics number 42 Vin Baker jersey. And
I know you're liking that one.
Love Vin Baker. Love that draft as well, actually. So we speak about great drafts.
So it's funny. I was reading through a bit of an article about Baker there. I think it's been well documented, all of his, the issues he had in the past. But it's great to see him now as an assistant coach and going so well. But anyway, a little bit about him, Wood. So he was drafted out of Hartford, so a pretty random college there, by the Bucks at pick 8 in the 93 draft. He had a 13-year career spending time with the Bucks, Sonics, Celtics, Knicks, Rockets, and Clippers. So it wasn't all smooth sailing for Baker. He battled with his weight, depression, and also alcohol, which impacted him later in his career, but still put together a very impressive resume, including listen to this, Woods, 4-time NBA All-Star. He was a 1-time All-NBA second team, 1-time All-NBA third team, All-Rookie team in 94. He won a gold medal for the US at the Sydney 2000 Olympics. He earned a championship ring as part of the coaching staff on the 2021 Bucks. 51 years old, currently still an assistant with the Bucks. He's managed to hold that job with Budenholzer going. Apparently really popular with the players there. I know him and Giannis are really close there. His son, Vin Baker Jr., is trying to find a spot in the NBA as well, was on a couple of summer league teams. But, yeah, what were your memories on I guess, Sam Perkins and on Vin Baker there, Woods?
Sam Perkins, obviously, as you said, much before his time, that great North Carolina team had a very long career. I remember him actually, playing towards the end, obviously there on some of those really good Sonics teams as well, right? And where did he go after the Sonics? He had a stop.
So he's finished off with Indiana, yeah.
Indiana, that's right.
Finished his career there, so.
Yeah. And then Vin Baker just growing up, remember him on that Olympic team. People forget that he was an all-star multiple times, but
Massively,
in
yeah.
those days, yeah.
Hey, I feel like we've featured a few guys, Woods, that we've mentioned that thing that they ended up having problems with drugs and alcohol and stuff like that. So it just shows you some of these guys that we sort of really looked up to and had great careers, but possibly could have achieved more had they not have had those personal off-court problems.
Well, to all our listeners and viewers, there's a great documentary on Vin Baker on YouTube you can watch where he talks about some of the struggles he had and how he came out of it on the other end and turned his life around. So, awesome stories. I honestly suggest that you check that out.
For sure. But no, I enjoyed rocking this today. Nice to sort of fish. I don't
Definitely.
think I've ever worn this jersey as well. It's just been sitting there unworn for about 15 years. So it was nice to actually put it on for a special occasion. And see, you're rocking an even more old school one there. So why don't you take us away with yours?
Yeah, sure.
This week. So Woods is standing up rocking the old school number 11 Sonics Detlef Schrempf jersey. Gotta love that one.
I don't think there's many people with the Vin Baker, Detlef Schrempf, or Sam Perkins jersey, man, right?
Pretty good trio for sure.
Yeah. We talk about the NBA and the globalization of it, and players from all over the world these days, especially from Europe, right? There were some pioneers that paved, and Detlef was one of those. Coming from Germany in the 1985 draft, he's the 8th overall pick, the Dallas Mavericks. It was really when he was traded to the Indiana Pacers that he became a regular in rotations. But yes, 85 to 89, Dallas Mavericks had 4 decent years. 89 to 93, Indiana Pacers, and most famously with the Seattle Supersonics 93 to 99, and finished up the Portland Trail Blazers 99 to 2001. Yeah, what do you remember about Detlef, man?
I remember him being on Parks and Recreation. That's one thing.
Definitely, I was about him.
Pawnee, Indiana. But no, I definitely remember him as just a very versatile player, inside, outside game, very high IQ. Yeah, it's funny. I actually studied German growing up in high school and everything like that. So I think I always paid attention to some of those, German guys back then, of which there wasn't a lot, was there? So he was clearly the standout there, I think.
And check out his accolades. 3-time NBA All-Star in 93, 95, and 97. All-NBA third team in 95. 2-time NBA Sixth Man of the Year in 91 and 92. German Player of 1992. So this guy has a lot of achievements. And you talk about being versatile. In the 1990 season with Indiana, 19.1 points, right? 6 assists, 9.5 rebounds, right? And this is coming off the bench as a sixth man. Think about those numbers. And he's shooting mid-40s, low 50s, career 40% three-point, attempt a few shots a game. You talk about a guy like Dirk Nowitzki from Germany as well, 7-footer, could shoot the three. Well, before Dirk was a country of his, Detlef Schrempf, who was doing that. And a lot of the European players were encouraged even back then to take those outside shots even from 4-5 spots. So that was
he rocked a pretty cool hairstyle as well. That's probably another thing I remember from him. Yeah.
Yep, and in addition, he did. He still looks very, very good today. And in addition to being on Parks and Recreation, he's been on Married with Children. He's been on Frasier. He's been in an IBM commercial, and even to this day, he works as a business officer in a wealth management firm at Seattle. So he's still having a successful career post-play. Yeah.
Very cool. Yeah.
All right, so Robbie, I thought it's a bit of a lull period at the moment in the world of basketball, but what we do have coming very soon, starting on the 25th of August, Friday, is the FIBA Men's World Cup. So I thought, why don't we go through the various different groups? A lot of groups, 8 groups actually in the tournament, and let's have a look at which teams are in each group, and maybe give our thoughts on the top 2 will progress from each group.
I've got to say as well, it's certainly
right?
a competition
Yeah.
I'm always looking forward to. There's a lot more teams and making it into the Olympics there. Like you said, there's not a lot happening in the world of basketball. So I'm really looking forward to it, just looking at some of the rosters and everything today. So not exactly sure what the coverage will be, but yeah, looking forward to consume a lot of it.
All right, for sure. So let's go through group. Why don't you tell the audience who aren't looking at my screen right now, the audio listeners, 4 teams in Group A.
Yes, we've got Angola, Dominican Republic, Philippines, and Italy. So a bit of a mixed bag of teams there, right? Should say as well, Woods. Did you notice that there's a really big team that's not in the World Cup that didn't make it? Did that stand out to you when you were doing your notes? the number 4 team in the world. And the reason I'm mentioning them is because they actually lost.
Argentina.
Argentina. So
Yeah.
they lost to the
Yeah.
Dominican Republic, which is why I mentioned that. So I thought that was a pretty big thing there, 4th in the world. They've obviously been, a team that's really. They actually went 8-4 in qualifying, but then lost tiebreakers to Venezuela or Brazil, and then lost to the Dominican Republic. So, and they've made the quarterfinals in the last 5 Olympics. So that's probably a huge team missing out. But look, in terms of these teams here. I was looking at the Philippine roster today. Jordan Clarkson, he's probably a chance of leading the whole comp in scoring, I would have thought. He's going to put up a lot of points on that team. Yeah, I don't know. I think probably my 2 picks would be the Dominican Republic and Italy would be the 2 to come through. Any arguments with that?
That's what I've got. Yeah. No, I've got that. And you look at Italy, they got Simone Fontecchio, Nico Ian. I think from memory, there's someone else there. I think those 2, right? Luigi Determi, he would be on there, right? I think.
Yeah.
Nicola Melli, I think. Yeah.
Yeah, and Dominican Republic is stacked, aren't they?
Yeah, Chris Duarte. Is it? No, is he on Dominican Republic or is he on?
He's Puerto Rico.
Which team is he on? Yeah, no, he's Dominican Republic. Chris Duarte is in the Dominican Republic. Right?
Yeah. No, in terms of Dominican Republic, I've got that right.
Al Horford, right, as well, I think, maybe.
Yeah, of course. So, Big Cat as well. So
Carl Anthony Towns. Yeah, they've got a good squad,
A team with Big Cat and Al Horford's going to go pretty far anyway. So, definitely expect that they will get through to the next round as well. What do you want to take away with Group B? Yeah.
So, Group B, we've got South Sudan, we've got Serbia, we've got China, and we've got Puerto Rico. What are you thinking there?
Surely South Sudan's going to be a second team of all the Aussies, right? Given that, half the team is filled. It's a shame that JLA will obviously be missing out because he would have been a big part of that team there. I still think they're going to get through, South Sudan. My prediction would be them and Serbia to get through, with apologies to China and Slow-Mo. Kyle Anderson on that team is someone that I enjoy watching. And, I do think South Sudan's got what it takes there. I think they're going to be a pretty good defensive team with all their length there. Yeah, I'll probably say them and Serbia. Did you have different there? Or?
Yeah, I was probably thinking China. I mean, you've got Joe Chi there as well. I like that. Give me some names. You got Sunday Dech playing, right? You got do we have Majok Deng there? Yeah, I think Deng will be playing, right?
Yep. A few others there. So, a couple of sort of lesser-known guys like Deng Akuth, Kwani. We've got Bull Qual.
Yeah, Bull Qual. Yep, I know. We think about how excited he was.
Yeah, and he'll be locking down players as well, won't he? Yeah. So, I like that team. And look at the defence they've got on that team with Sunday Dech and Bull Qual and those sort of guys there. So
Joe Luala-Chul's going to be a bit of a loss for them, right?
Yeah, they'll definitely.
And then Serbia, you've obviously got, you got both Bogies, Bogdanovic and Bojan are both playing. I think one of them's only
one of them's Croatian, so he's definitely not playing.
Oh yeah, that's right. Yeah. Bogdanovic will play, and then you're going to have Nikola Jovic is playing.
He's probably going to be their go-to guy. Look, it's probably a team that there's not a lot of household names there, but I think they're a team that manages to stay together quite often, and that. So I think they're going to be.
Why is it?
I'm not sure. I guess there's a few people I guess it is so close to an NBA season this year as well, so there's probably a few random people that aren't playing and everything like that, but I still think they'll get through to the round of 16 anyway.
I think Poku Serbian, right? He might be on that team.
Yeah.
Poku
I think you're right. Yeah.
All right. Yeah, he is. Okay. No worries. Let's move to Group C.
Yeah, so Group C, obviously that's the USA group there. That's the one that probably a lot of people will be watching there. I thought they got a reasonably easy pool, I've got to say there. I don't mind that New Zealand team, though, Woods. Not just because half of them play for my Perth Wildcats, but I quite liked some of the names on that. You've got young guys like Flynn Cameron there. You've got the Fotu brothers. Then you've got a lot of the Wildcats guys, like I said, the Webster brothers, Hiram Harris. Torrey Smith-Milner. They've got some size on the team. Ruben.
Why don't you tell the audience a little bit about the other two teams that are on there? So USA and New Zealand you mentioned.
USA, that's people probably know about that team there. I actually don't mind what they've done. They've picked a team, it's not a team of superstars, but that starting five they ran out against Puerto Rico. I think they had Jalen Brunson and Anthony Edwards in the backcourt, and then they went with Triple J. Help me with this one, Woods. I know it was a good defensive sort of lineup with the other two guys they had in that starting five. Miles Bridges and another guy who's escaping me now. But when I saw that, I thought that's a pretty handy team there. And obviously you've got guys like Austin Reeves and a few other people like that. So, look, I think USA will certainly be fine in this division, this pool. We'll see how they go in the other ones. Yeah, don't know a whole lot about Jordan and Greece. Obviously, Greece.
Well, yeah, clarity there. So it's Jordan, USA, Greece, and New Zealand, right?
Yeah,
in that group. Yep. So you're going to go with New Zealand and USA. I'm taking.
And is it wrong that I think of Ali G when I hear Jordan as well? When he's just like, why did they name a country after Michael Jordan? That's the first thing I think of the Ali G movie. But yeah, I'd love to see New Zealand get through. I mean, obviously it's going to be pretty tough given that USA's a lock in that group. So I think it probably will come down to Greece.
Well, we know Giannis has ruled himself out more than likely, right? With the ongoing injury at the moment. So
the Bucks would be happy about that. Yeah, I think it's going to come down to New Zealand and Greece. It could definitely come down to the head-to-head game between them. But no,
sure.
Interesting group.
The other brothers are going to be playing like Thanasis and Costas. I read somewhere. I think so.
And the other random one that always turns up in the All-Star weekend. Right?
Alex is not on it. Alex is not on it. Right? It's just those two from memory. Okay. Cool. Let's move on. And why don't you tell the audience the 4 teams in the next group, which is Group D.
Now, this is a random group, I've got to say. So we've got Egypt, Mexico, Montenegro, Lithuania. Lithuania would be the first team I'll be choosing to go through there. I was a little bit stuck on this one, I've got to say, Woods, when I was looking through these other teams. I mean, Lithuania's team ranked number 8 in the world, so you'd think they'd be pretty likely to go through. They've got some guys like Montejunas. Who else they got on that team? Yeah, he's probably the main one that sort of had NBA experience there. But yeah, and Valentine, of course. Yeah, can't forget him.
Yeah.
You help me out. Who do you think will be the second team? Obviously, you have Lithuania as well. Who do you see?
I've got Montenegro as the second team. There's a little bit of Montenegro. Who's it? Do you know?
That's because Kendrick Perry, the ex-Sydney King.
Kendrick Perry, one of my wife's favorite players, right?
Yeah, that's a random one, isn't it, to see him play for Montenegro.
Kendrick Perry will be there. He's been part of the Montenegro team for a while now after playing.
I see they've got a massive extended roster still, so they've obviously got to make some cuts there. Nikola Vucevic as well, so he's probably the big-name player on that team there. So, yeah, I think that'll be pretty handy. I can see...
It's Montenegro.
Yeah, so I could see those two teams being the teams that go through there. So, yeah, interesting. They've got some good beards on that team as well, the Montenegro team.
The reason I thought Nikola Vucevic was Serbian, but yeah, I guess,
Similar.
And who's the other team there?
So Mexico and Egypt. So
Egypt. Okay, no idea.
No, I do feel like those teams, unless Allah Abdul Nabi's making a comeback, I don't think those teams are going to be doing a whole lot.
All right. Let's turn our attention to Group E. Who are the 4 teams there?
Look, I really like this group.
That's our group.
Honestly. That's our group. I think it's probably the toughest group we've said so far. I don't know why we got in such a hard group. But, we've got Germany, Finland, Australia, and Japan. So, I mean, I'd love to think that we will automatically go through. I think it's going to be tough, Woods. I mean,
teams is the death group, man. This is the death group, right? Like, seriously,
things have read out. Yeah, I mean, Finland's a much improved team. Larry Markkinen will be leading them from the front. Japan's looking good as well these days. They've certainly got an improved team. Look, on paper, you'd look at it and think, it's going to be Australia and Germany that go through. But, yeah, I could see you just wouldn't want to lose one of those early games. If Australia were to somehow get upset against Finland or Japan there, they could be in a world of trouble there. So the Japan team's got Udai Bubba as well, of course, NBL connection.
Yeah, Nick Fazekas is there.
Rui Hachimura, of course, so coming off a pretty decent player from the Lakers.
Yuta Watanabe's there, I think, as well. He'd be playing.
So they're a much improved team.
And good team.
And Germany as well. I mean, Germany's, a team.
Germany, yeah.
You've got guys like Daniel Tice,
Isaac Bonga,
DS17.
Kleber. The Wagner brothers.
Yeah, exactly, about to say from Orlando. So that's
Daniel Vanilla Tice is there. Dan Schroeder, man. Whoa,
that's a lot of talent.
Germany's stacked, man. Right?
I mean, this is clearly the toughest group we've talked about so far.
Oh man, we're not guaranteed to get out of there. And Finland, look, I don't think. I mean, obviously there's Markkinen, but I don't think there's many other familiar faces on that roster.
There's not really, but I mean, Markkinen's going to have to put up some numbers. He could be giving Jordan Clarkson a run for his money for highest score and that. But almost feels like 3 games going to 2 there.
And I just might mention that you want to mention that the people that have been cut from the Australian team are the 3 big men: Thon Maker, Keanu Pinder, and Sam Froling. So that trims the roster down to 15, and Australia have to trim that even further to 12. So it's a job that. It's going to be a tough job there for
we've got a couple of games coming up as well, don't we? I'm not sure, again, if they're going to be televised. It's been hard to find that information there, but they've got a couple of games. I think after that, they'll make their final trims there. So it's going to be interesting to see if guys like Delhi make it, who makes it between Cooks and Jack White. There's some really interesting camp battles there. So looking forward to follow that with interest for sure.
All right, so let's go to Group F. We've got Slovenia, we've got Cape Verde, Georgia, and Venezuela.
Well,
This is
I
another
like we've
random
got
group,
that
right?
division. Seriously, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, Slovenia will easily have the best team there, of course, being led by Luka.
Yeah.
I'm going to be honest, Woods. I don't know anything about the other three teams. I can sort of go off people who used to play in the past, and Zaza for Georgia, and Venezuela, maybe I don't know, Carl Herrera or something like that back in the day. But yeah, don't know a lot about those teams.
Well,
I know Goran Dragic is out. I know his brother's playing for Slovenia and that, but I mean they're going to obviously clearly get through. That's probably the weakest division we've talked about so far. The weakest pool, I should say. Would you agree?
yeah, probably. There was one earlier with Egypt and, South Sudan. Was that the one? And there was also
Yeah,
Team
possibly.
There's a connection to the NBL for Venezuela. Michael Carrera, hothead import who played for the Cairns Taipans many years ago,
That's
plays
the
for
last one
Venezuela,
pass.
right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. But yeah, probably not. Probably don't need to spend a whole lot of time on this pool there. But
No.
yeah, it's interesting about Carrera. I forgot about him. Yeah.
Yeah, let's move to Group G. Do you want to tell the audience who's in Group G?
Yeah, so we've got Iran, Spain. Is that Ivory Coast?
Cote d'Ivoire, Ivory Coast,
Yep.
Cote d'Ivoire, yeah.
And Brazil, yeah. So it almost feels like a soccer pool, that one, with some of the teams there. I mean, look, Spain, clearly. I mean, they're the number one ranked team in the world, aren't they? So they're gonna easily get through. Yeah, second team in that one.
Brazil, man. I'll tell you some of the
is it?
names that are Brazil.
Yeah.
Bruno Caboclo, you got Cristiano Felicio, Didi Lazada, man. And you got Tim Suarez.
Yeah, so two ex-Sydney Kings players have also
Yep.
players there. Yeah, it's interesting, isn't it? So, yeah, that's probably not too bad a roster, isn't it? Iran, I can't see being too much trouble. Ivory Coast are probably the unknown, though, aren't they? I mean, I'm going to be honest, I don't know a lot about them there. Looking at their roster now, there's not any names that are sort of I'm too familiar with, but probably be expecting some athleticism with a team like those guys. Maybe some excitement there.
In Spain, you've got Alex Aprins, you've got Aldama, I think, Victor Clever. Who else is there? Hermes and Juancho, Usman Garuba,
That Spain team
Rudy Fernandez.
feels like an aging team to me. It seems
an
like a
aging
team that's, almost like that Argentina team where it's just sort of bottomed out a little bit there. I mean, you wonder if, Spain, you assume they'd have some young guys coming through, but yeah, this is, I think a team like Australia with all that young talent we've got now is going to be so exciting to watch.
They've lost Ricky Rubio as well. I think we'll get into that a little bit later.
We'll talk about it later, for sure.
Okay, so let's talk about the final group. Do you want to tell the
last group?
Four teams in the last group?
This is a pretty good group as well, I reckon.
It is. It is indeed. Yeah.
Canada, Latvia, Lebanon, and France. So that's probably it's probably similar to our pool, isn't it? I mean, obviously that Canada team, loaded, right?
That's
some really good
loaded.
players on that. That backcourt of SGA and Jamal Murray. I mean, that's the best backcourt by far out of any of those teams there. France seem to have had a few players out. I know Wemby played in a few qualifying games. He's definitely not playing in this. So France, look, you'd certainly expect them to be the second team to go through with Canada. I'm just looking at that French team now.
The team De Colo, you've got Gobert, you've got Yabusele.
Yeah, I think you'd have good names, isn't there?
Frankie Nicolatina, I think Evanier would probably be there, right? I think still, right?
Yeah. And Ntilikina's just changed teams again, I think I saw as well in the NBA. So, yeah, look, that is a pretty strong roster, isn't it? And some veterans there that have played a lot of time together too. And obviously you've got the Stifle Tower inside with Rudy. So, yeah, I'd say that's pretty easy, that pool with France and
Well, you mentioned Canada, right? You got Nickeil Alexander-Walker, RJ Barrett, O'Shea Brissett, Dylan Brooks, Luguentz Dort. You mentioned
Corey Joseph, Kelly
Corey Joseph just pulled out, actually.
Dwight Powell.
Yeah, so Dwight Powell, Kevin Pangos, who's actually...
Kevin Pangos, I saw him play against Australia when they were here recently. Yeah. He's a gun, that guy. Really good player. So he's great at the international level as well. And he'll probably get a big role with someone like Corey Joseph out. So, they're going to be a really strong team, aren't they?
They're going to be good, man. They're more stacked than us, right? Yeah.
Possibly, yeah. They look like a similar sort of style roster to us. There's some big names on that team for sure.
All right, that's great. Really excited. Looking forward to it. On the 25th of Friday, 25th of August. Do we know that we're going to be televised and things like that yet? No.
We'll be back. No, I think we'll be doing it again. I think we'll talk about it at the end probably. We're going to have a one more week off next week and then be back on every week after that. So that'll be the week before that starts. So we can certainly update, who the final Australian team was because that's going to be such an interesting battle. And,
do you know if the games are going to be on free to air or KO or what is that? Have you looked into that yet?
I think I heard it's ESPN because I think what was the podcast the other day? Trevor Gleason's going to be commentating with
that's right. Yep.
With our mate help me out, Woods. Kane.
Kane Pittman. Yeah.
Kane and Trevor Gleeson will be commentating. I think Andrew Gaze might be doing some commentary as well. So definitely going to be ESPN there. I'm not sure how much I'll be spread. I'd love that they get if they had every game, if they had like a dedicated channel, but not sure how that'll go. But yeah, looking forward to it for sure.
All right, awesome. Now I'll get into a bit of quick NBL free agency. Why don't you start off with telling us about this little-known import that the Perth Wildcats have signed?
It's interesting. I did my notes yesterday, and at that stage, it was still announced by Olgan, Olgan the newsbreaker on Twitter, about 5 days ago, and it was finally made official today by the Wildcats and the NBL. So, yeah, Jordan Usher, 6'7" swingman. He's an Atlanta native, Wood, so someone for us to get behind. He went to Georgia Tech, played in Turkey last year. So continues that trend of the Wildcats. We love getting young imports now. So whether it was someone like Mooney a few years ago, Brady Manick last year, and now Jordan Usher. So I quite like what I've seen from him, I've got to say. Seems like definitely like a 3-and-D type player. He's got motivation to come out here and be a defensive player of the year. So probably that's the sort of player we need on a team with someone like Bryce Cotton, the Websters and guys that will be looking for their shots there. So hopefully you can fit in well. Still people are saying that Duop Reed's going to be the other player and maybe they won't get a third import. I'd love that to be the case. In fact, I'd love it to be the case that we get Duop Reed and a third import.
That would be ideal. You've got your 3 import slots. You should use them, right? Unless Duop Reed comes in as one of those, flagship players that marquee players. Yeah.
Perhaps I could reach out to the Kings and maybe get their accountant to help them out.
Get out of here. All right, let's move on to the Kings.
We could do a whole show on that, couldn't we? On my thoughts.
Let's move on to the Kings. Denzel Valentine.
Who they signed this week?
The Denzel Valentine since we last recorded, right?
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
All right. All right. Denzel Valentine. What do you think about that signing? What's he going to bring to this team?
Yeah, he's a player that's been a little bit forgotten about the last few years, but he had some really good times in the NBA for the Chicago Bulls. So I think that's a good signing there. He's probably someone he's still in his late 20s, isn't he? So maybe he hasn't
29, I think that's right.
Back to the NBA. Going back to the Kings, and I'm not going to do my usual sort of comments there. I had a look at that roster last week, and oh my goodness, that team is loaded. Yeah. I mean, obviously everyone's spoken about Melbourne as well, but that Sydney team, what they've managed to do there, getting their former MVP back, getting the runner-up and the MVP and DJ Hogue to the team, and then just some of the other signings they've got there. They're going to be exciting. I think you're probably very much excited to be having your season tickets and going to the games this year. And
yeah, definitely. I think they throw Hunter to start ahead of Bolden to start off with. If Bolden finds his feet. Jordy Hunter had a really good year last year. Almost a timeshare with Tim Suarez. So and then obviously you're gonna have Jalen Adams, DJ Hogue, Denzel Valentine. Who else? Anyone could start, right?
I mean, Alex too could even be getting some pretty solid minutes on that team. But
for sure.
It already feels like a better team on paper than last year, which is saying something.
Definitely.
So, I think you'll be.
I agree.
Looking forward to that. Yeah.
Okay, Southeast Melbourne Phoenix. They've had two signings in the last little period. Gary Browne Jr. come back. I mean, do you think that was the right decision?
I didn't mind that one, actually. I don't know that he was fully playing healthy all last year. I think he fit in well on that team. I think it was well documented his shooting was a little bit down. They're probably expecting some better outside shooting from him. But no, I liked what he did offer last year. So I think that's probably good, and getting that familiar sort of player back there. Obviously, we expect it will be a new system under Coach Mike Kelly there, but I think they did all right getting him. And the other one was getting a bit of a forgotten player, right, in Craig Moller back.
Right, correct.
Big guy, energetic player. He'll run from end to end. He'll create havoc on defense, get offensive rebounds, set screens. So he's that sort of player that most teams would be happy having on their team, right?
From all reports, developed his game playing over in Europe for the last few years. So we might see a different Craig Moller, a little bit more mature. So I'm looking forward to see
some Reece Vague on that team as well, Woods, to see him come out and just knock down all those corner threes, because he's another forgotten about player. He was a bit of an end of the bench player for the Wildcats when he left to go to Japan and overseas, and he's now a boomer sort of B team player. So they've retooled pretty well.
And just quick, Ian Clark to Melbourne. That's beautiful, right? I mean, I think Daly come off the bench, and you might have Delhi and Ian Clark and Goulding all starting together. How does that look to you?
Yeah, I think he's a smart player, and Clark, I maybe didn't love what he put up with Adelaide towards the end of last season there, but that team was in a bit of disarray, I think. So he knows he's going to have a role going in, like you said, probably in a 6-man role with Melbourne on a loaded team there.
I think he might start from all reports. Right?
Is that what you reckon?
It sounds like Illy's going to come off the bench.
Yeah,
and the depth chart currently stating that Clark's going to start at the 2.
Is he their only American?
Is that their only import?
I think it is, because remember there was talk they were going to run out the all Aussie team there. So
Yeah, I think you're
obviously
right.
all Aussie, all local team, I should say. Obviously, there's a Kiwi and
Yeah, well, they've got Huck Porty as a
like
German.
counts as an Aussie, even though he's on the South Sudan to the
Huck
roster.
Porty German as well, right?
Yeah, of course, yeah. But no, I'm looking forward to see how it all goes along. And we should say as well, Woods, I think since I know you probably got a few more, but since we last recorded there, they did announce that NBL Blitz is going to be in Gold Coast this year. So
Yep.
I would have loved to have gone there. I'm a big fan of going to Gold Coast. So for those that can get away, for those that live in Melbourne and put up with the just ridiculously bad weather you guys get there all winter, get down and support your favourite team. Go to Gold Coast. I would have loved to have gone, but unfortunately just be watching on TV. But that should be a pretty good tournament. That's coming up, I think, in mid-September there. So that's going to be a good chance to look at some of these guys.
Nice. Okay, just quickly, Kell, getting an opportunity in Adelaide. Obviously, Anthony's Cleveland and Robert Franks decided not to come back. Kell safe there for CJ Bruton, right?
I mean, look, no one's ever said that I was an Adelaide 36ers fan, Woods, but I've got to say I was a big fan of Antonius Cleveland and Robert Franks. I love those two guys. For them to lose those two guys within a space of a week, I actually felt really sorry for CJ and the team there. And I mean, it's not quite the same getting someone like Kell in replacement there. So, I have a few concerns about them this year. I think they're going to be sliding down the ladder. But, what two players to lose, right? A month and a half before the season starts,
Yep. It's tough. Anyway, we'll see how it all plays out. A few other small signings. Majuk. Chris Smith, a little-known import who's a great picked up by Brisbane. So we'll see how it plays. I think most of the roster spots are now filled up. So I think just Perth and maybe one other team that has a spot. Yeah, that plays out, right?
For sure, yeah.
All right. Let's turn our attention to NBA. Absolutely nothing happening recently, but a couple of signings. We talked about Ball and how impressed the Orlando Magic, right? He's been given a chance now at the Phoenix Suns. He gets to, probably learn a little bit from a guy like Kevin Durant. What do you think about that signing for Phoenix?
I don't mind it at all. I think they've actually built up this roster pretty well at Phoenix. They've managed to get a few guys on, smaller contracts, guys like Garrett Gordon getting Bol. So, they've probably been a little bit of a surprise. I think everyone thought they'd get these big guns and then maybe fill it out with lesser-known sort of guys. But they've managed to get a few veterans, a few guys like Bol that haven't quite, realised their potential now. I like that signing there. I think it's a bit of a no-risk type signing as well.
Yeah, totally. It's a free swing. I love that too.
Yeah.
All right, let's talk about Atlanta. We haven't had some Hawks talk as well. Dejounte Murray re-ups. Have we spoken about that yet?
I think we did speak about that. Got him on a really good deal there. So I think we did very well getting that. Did you read the reports today that the Hawks were, we knew they were trying to get Pascal Siakam. They actually offered DeAndre Hunter, my boy AJ Griffin, and some draft picks, and Toronto turned it down. So interesting. You wonder if they'll maybe sort of think, that where we are 2 months away from the season and a little bit of change there. So will they maybe try and up that offer? Will they maybe say, look, instead of AJ Griffin, we'll give you Jalen Johnson, something like that, maybe a better draft pick there. So I wouldn't fully rule out that the Hawks will get Siakam. We know they've been pretty interested in getting him there. But for now, I mean, it's only really the Wesley Matthews signing, which, didn't really,
all right, talk to me about that.
It didn't blow me away when I saw that we'd got him. And we're assuming at this stage that Patty Mills is going to be there on opening day, right? So he hasn't been traded for the 100th time this offseason. So we can nearly start to get our jerseys. Of course, we have told people we are going to be going to America next year, Woods. How good would it be for the two of us to go to Atlanta and see Patty Mills wearing a Hawks jersey? So I'm sure we'll probably buy a Hawks jersey. Well, of course, if he does make it. So fingers crossed he stays. But Wesley Matthews, look, I mean, a veteran player that's going to come in and play a bit of defense, hit some corner threes, and probably that's about it. I'm not too excited by that one. Really.
And interesting storyline there if Patty Mills does stay in Atlanta. A long friend, an old teammate of his, Wesley Matthews. So those two go way back and they've got a really close bond. So it'll be nice to see them reunite at the end of their careers after starting, right?
I don't mind that too, getting a few veterans. If we keep Patty, Wesley Matthews, we were quite a young team last year, so getting some of those guys, I don't mind it.
Yep, I can see how it plays out. Okay, NBL1, man, a lot happening, right? Why don't you let us all know about all the exciting results of the weekend?
I might start off in the conference that I cover first, Wood. So that's the NBL1 East. So since we recorded last time, the Mighty Hills Hornets had a great season. Ended up finishing 6th on the ladder there. had a really tough playoff game there. So a few of the conferences do it different. In the NBL1 East, it's the 1-8, 2-7, 3-6, etc. So we actually drew Canberra in the 3-6 matchup. Canberra being, they made it to the finals of the NBL1 Nationals last year. So we went down to them. So great season by the Hornets. But sticking with the East there, Woods, I'm just going to go through each conference today. So I'll try and be quick, but I wanted to really sort of shout out some of these teams.
Sure.
So in the men's semis in the East, Sutherland knocked off COE by 7. So felt a bit sorry for COE, though, without Ben Henschel and Furphy in their biggest game of the year. The other semi-final was a replay of last year's grand final, and Maitland turned the tables and knocked off Canberra in the nation's capital by 13. So guys like Cranston Lown and Matthew Gray, just really consistent players. So the final will actually see the 5th seed in Sutherland taking on the 7th seed in Maitland. So a bit of a surprise there. My tip in that one, look, I'm going to say Sutherland win that. I think Maitland on their day can definitely win and got a good team, but probably like Sutherland's depth a little bit more. In the NBL1 East Women's, Woods, the grand final is going to be an absolute cracker between Manly and North. So Manly knocked off that COE team that we saw and we liked so much by 7. North's beat the Comets by 20. So the Comets, of course, Vanessa Panousis and Shyla Hill and Jada Crawshaw. So Manly have only lost 2 games all year, but Norths are in really good form. So both of those grand finals will take place this weekend at Sydney Uni. And a big shout out. Shout out to a friend of ours on the show, and Matt McQuaid, who'll be calling those games, and also Jacinta will be calling the women's game there. So wish them both the best of luck. So that's the NBL1 East. I'm going to pause and have a drink.
And while you're doing that, man, shout out to John Furphy, man. What, he just got picked up by Kansas State? Is that right?
Wasn't it Kentucky?
Yeah, I think it was Kansas, man.
Okay, all right.
Go on, I'll check that.
We'll fact check that. All right, you fact check that while I go into it. So, well, next I wanted to talk about the NBL1 North. So that's the only one that's done so far, Wood. So they had their grand finals last week and completely different format in the NBL1 North. They play a best of 3 game series for the final, which I really like. I wouldn't mind seeing the other conferences doing that. So in the women's, Northside swept Rockhampton, winning the 2 games in convincing fashion by 35 and 11. Courtney Woods is named the finals MVP. Then the men's, Woods, went to 3 games with Ipswich beating the Gold Coast Rollers 2-1. So Ipswich's Nathan Sobey was finals MVP. What a star-studded team this Ipswich team is as well. The Galloway brothers, Deng Deng, Matt Hodgson, and Nathan Sobey. So in Game 3 of that game, Deng Deng put up 41 points on 8 of 14 three-pointers. So he absolutely killed it here. So they're actually going to be my Nationals final prediction to win it all. So I'm going to say that Ipswich go. So they've already got their game confirmed as well. So they're going to be playing Rockhampton, who basically get in as winners last year, even though they got knocked out in the comp this year. As they won last year, they're an automatic inclusion. So that's going to be the first game, Ipswich and Rockhampton. So Rockingham, I should say. So looking forward to that. So that's the West and the East done. We'll go, the East and the North done. We'll go to the West now. So the grand finalists are set. All these other conferences, their grand finals are this weekend. So at the time of recording is Wednesday, the 9th of August. So in the men in the NBL West, Joondalup knocked off Rockingham. And the West MVP, Devondrick Walker, in an overtime thriller. So they'll take on Geraldton, who destroyed the Perth Redbacks in the other semi. Joondalup finished the season in 6th place, so they'll go to the grand final with a lot of confidence with the form they're in at the moment. In the women's, Woods, Coburn will take on Willerton in a battle of 1-2 from the regular season. So the 2 winners of the national titles, as you'll probably remember last year, were Rockingham and Warwick in the women's respectively. So both couldn't get back to the grand final, but due to them winning last year, they get an automatic invite into that nationals that basically starts next month. Should say as well, Woods, I wasn't successful in getting the gig for the NBL1 Nationals. So for those that don't know, they've been played in Perth. There was submissions for all the NBL1 commentators to try and get a gig over there. So I did try and do it. Unfortunately, with there only being 8 commentators, they did pick 4 of them from Perth, and then they basically picked 1 from each other conference. So it was the Canberra commentator that managed to get it. So even people like Jacinta and Matt McQuaid didn't get the call up for that. So
unfortunate.
But I messaged the NBL1 media guy and said, look, really happy just to have my name in the running sort of thing, and I'll keep working on my craft and try and get there next year. So that's the ultimate game and the ultimate goal, I guess, to do that. So 2 more to go. So the Central men's grand final this weekend, Forestville will take on West Adelaide. West Adelaide are going to be hard to beat, Woods. So they got a team featuring Mitch McCarron, Lachlan Albrick, and Anthony Drimmich. So how's that for a big three on their team? In the women's conference, Sturt will play Norwood. So Sturt's undefeated all season, the only team in all the NBL1 conferences to be undefeated. So they will probably go in as big favourite. And last but not least, the NBL1 South. So in the men's, Knox will take on... So basically, Knox will take on Sandringham in the final. Knox are basically led by Dane Pinot and Ben Eyre and veteran David Barlow last week. And both of those teams had impressive semi-final wins. So Knox beat Mount Gambier, Sandringham beat Diamond Valley. And in the women's, Bendigo and Waverley will meet in the grand final. So Bendigo actually beat Waverley in the quarterfinal 2 weeks ago. And they're yet to lose all season as well. So, sorry, the second team they haven't lost. So they'll go in as hot favourites. So did find it quite interesting how different all these, how they're doing it, Woods. Some are doing the 1 versus 8, some are doing 3-game final series, some are doing the first and the second go through to week 2. So honestly, I wouldn't mind seeing a bit of consistency in having
consistency.
I agree. A bit hard to keep up. When I saw there was the best of 3 in the north, I was like, what's going on here? So, it's the NBL1 East, everything's one game there. So I think that's why it shows you teams that, rank 5th and 7 can be in the final. It's on their day, it's a one-game thing and upsets can happen there. So, and the only last thing I wanted to say about NBL1, a big shout-out to a friend of ours, Lauren Nicholson, back-to-back Defensive Player of the Year awards in the NBL1 East. So, big shout-out to Loz.
Well done, Loz. Just the thing, Robbie, really, really good summation. John Perfy has committed to Kansas. He's going to be a Jayhawk, right?
Sure.
And Dang, man, no team yet, right?
Yeah, it's interesting, isn't it? No,
surprise.
Yeah, true. Yeah, there was rumours maybe Tasmania. They got Majok Deng, his namesake. But it's interesting, isn't it?
Yeah. Surely enough to find a spot on the NBL roster.
Yeah.
All right. Okay, man. Did you
You're
get
excited
a
about
text?
this part, aren't you? Yeah.
You get a text from Sid, our good friend Sid, Seeking, right? All the way from Florida. Did you get a text from him?
I did. Yeah.
Okay, and what did that text say?
Well, basically just said that there was a package on the way there, so I know you've got something there you're dying to show. So let's get into it. What do you got?
All right. So, guys,
big shout out to Sid.
Yep, and for those who can't see, it's a huge box that Sid sent us all the way from Florida, right? With the Sydney Sea Kings tape on it. Open it on the show, all right? Cool. Open it on the show.
Hey, we should say as well, Woods, anyone else that listens or subscribes or anything else like that, if they want to send us any gifts, feel free to, I'm a size 13 and I love Nike Air Force Ones, but no, anyway.
And I have to tell you, I do not know what's in this box. I do not know at all what's in this box. So this is going to be interesting. It's not like opening a pack. It's going to be a bit harder to open this box, I think, but
yeah, it could be interesting. Right? You've got the box cutter handy or something like that. So, no, it's very much authentic for those that, just listening to the audio here. We don't know what's inside this. We know it's going to be a surprise of some sort, but yeah, we'll find out what it is.
All right. Well, there's a card. Let's read the card first, right?
Nice. Authentic sound effects. I'm liking that. You're ripping it open.
This is a box of goodies. Alright. So, obviously he puts in a few Seeking stickers.
Nice.
One for you, one for me, Robbie. Right?
Very cool.
A nice little card here. And it says, this is very nice. Woody, happy 40th, mate. Hope it's a year to remember. All this. Sid, plus Robbie and Woody. Just a quick message, package to thank you guys for hours of content via Throwback Hoops. Really appreciate it. We appreciate you, Sid.
That's great.
The gifts are labeled in the order you should open them, 1 to 7. 1 is for Robbie. All right. Gifts are labeled in the order you should open them. 1 is Robbie. Okay.
I'm happy that Sid's still speaking to me too after me, predicting that Miami would not have a great season last year. So I'm glad that we're still on good terms there.
So I'm gonna open these. This is how kind of Sid is this, man?
Yeah,
you are the man. He's labeled all of them 1 to 7. This is so generous, Sid. When you're in Sydney next, we owe you nice dinner, steak, some drinks. We love you, man.
Count me in for the steak dinner, Woods, for sure.
We value your friendship. We value support. Not only are you a great fan of the show, but you're a great human being, man. So thank you for everything. All right. So I've got to get this right. I've got 1 to 7, right? So I've got 4. I've got 5. I've got 3. number on all of these, Sid? Oh, this is 1. Okay. 1 is for Robbie. All right.
Nice. What you got?
Let's see what we got here.
Christmas in August. Jeez.
Oh, you're gonna love this. You're gonna love this. A Patty Mills bobblehead.
Oh, I do love that. That's outstanding.
Look at
been
that.
looking for a Patty Mills bobblehead as well. Sid, you're a legend.
I know it. I remember him saying that he's got one and he'll send it to you. I think this was one of the... Could have been one of the stadium giveaways. He'll have to tell us.
It is. You can tell by the side with the flags and stuff. Oh, that's awesome. That'll be going straight into the front row of my bobblehead cabinet in the lounge room, for sure.
All right. You'd actually get that bobblehead cabinet and post it on Twitter one day.
Yeah, I should put some photos there. Yeah.
All right, number 2 is for Woody. All right. Thank you. 7 gifts, man.
Wow.
This is awesome.
Hey, this is a lot more than what I've got you for your birthday this year, Woods. I must apologise there. There won't be 7 gifts for me, unfortunately.
All right. What do we got here?
This is a bobble too, right?
Oh, it's a Coach Buford bobblehead. Right?
Nice.
Look at that.
Nice.
It's a
That's
Coach
great.
Buford bobblehead. And check this out. We just talked about the Kansas Jayhawks, right? That is committed to. This is a basketball card of Chase Buford.
Outstanding.
Playing for Kansas alongside his bobblehead. This is this is incredible. This is incredible. Oh, man.
I never knew there was a Chase Buford bobblehead. That's great.
It's a Sydney Kings. No, it's a Wisconsin head bobblehead.
Oh, yeah.
Wow.
That's a pretty good. Looks quite a bit like it, doesn't it? I think they've got a better budget with some of those ones over there than our local bobbleheads. That's quality.
And look, it's got fully authenticated. Man, this is crazy.
And this is only gift 2. Wow.
Okay. All right. Sorry, I know we're taking a bit of time for this guys today, but gift 3, 4.
Mate, the excitement's there. I'm very interested to see what's
Gift
next.
3 and 4 for the pod with love from my daughter Zoe. All right, thanks Zoe.
Thanks, Zoe.
Thanks, Zoe. That's so nice. Zoe, you're awesome. Looking forward to meeting you one day, Zoe. How cool is this? All right. This looks fragile, so I don't want to get. All right. Awesome. We have got. Oh, this is unreal, man. It's the mascots.
Harry the Hawk.
That's the Hawk. Yeah, Harry the Hawk. We got the Celtics, the Clippers, the Hornets. Another Hawks one there. Do these fit in? Okay, yes. So some of these have fallen. So let's move to gift 4. All right.
Hey, Woods, did you get so excited then that you might have interrupted the recording? So apologies.
I might have
fixed that together. So you've made my job extremely hard tonight. So
I think I might have accidentally pressed spacebar opening this. Okay, so we're going to gift 4, which is for the pod. So gift 3 was all the mascots of the various different teams from Zoe.
Nice.
I might have accidentally pressed. Oh, we got Kinder Surprise. NBA eggs with toys in them. Now my wife loves these Kinder Surprise, but she throws away the toys. So I might give them to her and see what's in there. Thanks, Zoe. Cool. Appreciate it. All right. 5 and 6 are for the pod too. This is amazing from Sid. What a big heart.
Yeah, absolutely.
Oh, it's a pack of cards.
Ooh.
It's a pack of cards. I think with all the stuff we're opening today.
Yeah, why don't we save that pack for our next episode, Woods? Because I know you've ordered some that haven't come yet, so that'd be perfect. What
it's an Jam pack. We've opened these big ones before on the show before. We have.
Awesome. Yeah. All right, well, that's our next pack to be opened for sure.
All right, number 6 is for the pod as well. Sid, we will open them on the next week's.
Definitely.
Or next episode of the show. Oh, we got a tops pack here.
Nice.
Another pack looks like. Yes, packaged them up well, Sid.
Like we said, that
All
works
right.
out well because you have had a few problems with the Paxi board arriving, so we're set.
The 94, 95 tops there, right?
Excellent.
And number 7 is for the cards. There's so much stuff here. My wife's gonna make
I'd love to do like Chris Kringle or something with Sid and him getting my name. I'll tell you, with the way he does his presents, that'd be great.
Number 7 is the Skittles from Burley. So, Skittles, you got a gift. Oh, how good is that? That's some Skittles.
Cool.
This is so thoughtful, Sid. Thank you so much. It means everything to us. Sorry, I was so excited. I paused the recording, so just do a bit of cut and paste there, Robbie. Sorry about the making it difficult. So, yep. Any words for Sid, Robbie?
Mate, that's extremely generous there. I can't wait to get my hands on that Paddy Mills bobblehead Woods. I'll be keeping the box in pristine condition, but putting it in the front row of my cabinet. And I'll get some photos of that cabinet as well, right? Because I think a few people have seen me show off some of the bobbleheads on the show from time to time. But such a generous thought, Sid. Can't wait to catch up and meet you in person, obviously, like Woody has done before. So I really appreciate it, mate.
All right, take it, Robbie.
Yeah, so look, it was great to be back. We thought we'd probably say, Woods, we're not going to be here next week. We're going to have one more week off, but after that, we're going to be back every week. So you're not getting rid of us that easy there. So as always, feel free if you've got any ideas for the shows, jersey suggestions, to get in contact with us. Of course, if you want to do that, on Twitter, we're at Throwback Hoops. Instagram, we're throwback.hoops, and our email address is throwbackhoopspodcast@gmail.com. Should say as well, Woods, we do have some pretty good guests lined up. We're going to start our NBL previews, I think, from the next show, right, or the one after that. But we've got some pretty good guests lined up for that, so looking forward to talk a lot more NBL and then get prepared for this NBA season. So what about yourself?
From the next show? The next show, we're going to do it. Yeah, yep. So, Patreon, appreciate everyone's support. Looking forward to a new season, right? So.
Absolutely, yeah. I think this season of the NBA more than ever, Woods, as we said, I'm anxiously anticipating the schedule release, which is probably going to be next week. As soon as I get that, I'm going to start our itinerary for our February 2024 trip, and I'm going to finally see some NBA games in person, which is still a bit hard to believe, but yeah, I'm going to be like a kid in a candy store. And there has been a little bit of talk that we might be opening up our wallets when we go to Atlanta, Woods, and potentially getting some courtside seats or somewhere very close to the action anyway. So can't wait for that.
Hey, when we're in Vegas or in LA, let's hit up Sid and see if he's keen to catch up for us for a night.
Sounds good.
Yeah. All right, man. From the team at Throwback Hoops, Robbie and I, much love.
Peace out.